Yeah. It was at, let's see, so it was at Peace Lutheran Church in Oshkosh, and then the wedding reception, it was called, what was it called? Something on the Lake? Legion on the Lake.
Yeah, this is American
And now
Legion.
it's some other, I think it's still there. But
Is that where they did their 50th?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a while ago, but I remember it a little bit.
In 2000.
That's where all those bugs were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there, but I remember we went and visited that lake shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lake flies.
Mm-hmm.
So then, okay, so we got married, so we lived in Rockford that summer, and I actually, what was it?
Fuller Brush.
Yeah, I actually got a job selling Fuller Brush door to door.
Yeah.
I don't know if that company still exists, but they sold household stuff door to door. And so I wasn't very motivated. So I did it, but not really intensely. I remember one time I went to a door and there was this elderly woman, so it turned out she must have had Alzheimer's or something. So I sold her some stuff, and then later I got a call from her son, who was a doctor, and it was like, "What are you doing selling stuff to my mother?" I'm saying, "Well, she ordered it."
There you go.
And then she said, "Well, she's not all there mentally." I said, "Well, I'm sorry. How the hell am I supposed to know?" I still remember that. I was like, "Well, I don't know."
Well, do you want some?
Well, I do. It was something strange. Like, what did she order? Like cement cleaner or something?
That looks good. Give me some of
I mean,
mine.
I couldn't. I mean, it was hard to tell whether she was mentally competent. I mean, it appeared that she was living in her own house. And okay, so
Well, I think I remember that incident too, and there was something about, okay, just help her choose one item.
now, what do you want?
You pick.
You pick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Then we moved to.
Boston.
No, we moved to Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, right.
So we moved there. Let's see. So was that? Yeah, I think we moved there before school started. So we were camping out for a while.
Mm-hmm. Couple weeks.
We were camping out.
This back to the same old
So we're
way.
camping out, doing just camping out, and Vernell had a bunch of house plants that were spread out on the picnic table.
People
And I
saw
think-
you sell it. I mean, we look like hippies or something.
The people stopped by and asked if you were
Looked
selling them. Or
Yeah, could we buy those plants? I'm like, no, we're just waiting to move in.
Can those plants be smoked, bro?
I don't know if that was such a thing back then. That was like,
Well, it was, but
not
so
beyond me.
Not that campsite.
No.
so we moved into married student housing at Champaign-Urbana, and I remember our next door neighbor was some guy from family from Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
and they were very I don't know, it was like they were Muslim, so the woman never came out of the house, or I don't know what it was, but so you went over there.
He came over and asked me to teach her English. So I tried. And we took a picnic lunch one time. Khalid and Latifa, those are the kids' names. So we packed up and I mean, if we went over and sat in the living room, she would be behind the partition and just be in the kitchen, so she was not visible whatsoever. And so sometimes I would go over there during the day if I didn't work, because I work plus I don't know, sometimes 60 hours a week as catering supervisor. And sometimes when I'd go over there, she'd have a little whip. And if the kids didn't do what she told them, she whipped them. And so it was a small little thing, but it was effective. I think they gave us a prayer rug. I don't know where that went.
I don't know.
And,
So we lived, yeah, so that's the only place we lived, was in Mary Student Housing. And
Yeah.
my advisor was actually a famous person. He was
Paul Dirac.
Ken Appel, who Ken Appel and he had an associate professor, or he had a fellow professor. They both solved this famous math problem called the four-color theorem.
Alright. Yep.
Wolfgang Hack or something, I think it was. So I took statistics courses, but then Ken Appel said, you should check into actuarial science. So at that time, the University of Illinois did not have an actuarial program at all. So I did some of the coursework I did was like independent study. And then I said, okay, well, I'll sit for one of these actuarial exams. So I sat for one and I passed it. So I said, well, maybe I'll sit for another one. And then, so it was around the time, so they would have recruiters coming to campus, to recruit students. So I sat, so I met with a couple of recruiters. Let's see, one was with an actuarial consulting firm called Milliman and Robertson. Another one was with John Hancock. And another one was with Hartford Insurance. So I did some. Well, this was kind of a funny thing. Was so I scheduled like job trips in December. Yeah, it was like December of my final. So it was like a 3-semester program. So this was the last semester, and it was basically after the classes were over. So I scheduled like job trips, and after I scheduled them, one of the professors of one of my classes said, he decided that there would be extra classes, and that if I didn't go to them, I wouldn't get credit for the class. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm going on these. I've scheduled these trips already. I'm not going to cancel them. And so I went on the trips. Let's see, one was in Kentucky, one was in Connecticut, and one was in Boston. So I was offered, I think, at least 2 different jobs. So I accepted the one in Boston. Well, actually, I didn't accept it. So I went there. So they offered the job, and then I went home for Christmas. And it was kind of funny because when I was at home for Christmas, the police came to our door. And usually in a situation like that, it's like they wanted my dad because they had somebody needed medical care. But they were asking for me. And I said, well, what do you want me for? And the guy, like the VP at Hansico, which was a subsidiary of John Hancock, he was kind of a eccentric guy. So he he called because he wanted to know if I was going to accept his offer or not. And apparently he couldn't get through to the landline, so he called the police and had the police come and get me. So I said, okay, I might as well accept the offer.
Okay. Well, I think, yeah, we're gonna have to take a break.
I think that's a good